All right, hello, welcome to this video. We are going to talk about a major story that News 12 did not cover at all. And this whole thing with the bus driver shortage isn't just affecting public transportation, it's also affecting schools. And this kind of, hits me personally because one of the schools that are being affected is a school I had to go to when I was in high school. So it says here, dozens of Nassau BOCES students affected by school bus driver shortage. And, of course, nothing on News 12 about it. Nothing at all. They actually covered nothing. No, they were all fluff today. No actual news at all whatsoever. I don't like calling them out. I don't really do it anymore, but when it relates to transportation, I will, because they missed a major they also missed the story with the car getting hit in Huntington Station over the weekend, that they missed as well. Somebody died in that. They didn't even cover that because again, they're not a news station. They need to take the news out of their name. They did talk about. Again, just feel-good stories. That's all they talk about, and this is one of them here. They opened a new concourse at Penn. It looks very nice, but if it's not safe and you have homeless people hanging out there because the governor doesn't want to get rid of the homeless people from our public transportation system, then what good is it if the homeless live there and start ruining it, And then there's just a bunch of other fluff, basically. They didn't cover any crime, but we don't talk about the crime that much anymore, So let's get to this story here. This is a major story. Shame on News 12 for not covering it. Dozens of BOCES students stranded because school buses were missing. All right, and we see this go on in the city with the missing buses. Nice bus, too. We have driver shortages, too. I mean, I've seen supervisors driving buses, all right? And so I'm very concerned. Robert Dillon, district superintendent for Nassau BOCES, said of the bus driver shortage, we want to make this go away as soon as possible. I need kids in school. So it says here, dozens of Nassau BOCES special education students did not get a ride on their first day back to school Tuesday, and others had long delays due to a bus driver shortage. So they were left stranded and missed school. A major story. Where is News 12? Nowhere to be found. I mean, they serve a bunch of snobs. They really do. It's TV for snobs. It's not news. All right. I'm very concerned, said Robert Dillon. All right. Dillon said First Student, a private bus company contracted to transport Nassau BOCES students, told his office Friday that it didn't have enough drivers. Over the weekend, Dillon's office worked to reduce the number of affected students from 79 to 74, ranging in grades from elementary to high school. So 74 kids were left stranded. And again, this hits me personally because one of the school districts, this one here is this high school I went to. All right, I couldn't go to regular school because of my disability. All right, so the affected students attend Seaman Neck Middle School in Seaford, Robert Williams School in Jericho, Willett Avenue School in Hicksville, Rosemary Kennedy School in Wantor, and Center for Community Adjustment also in Wantor, and that's again where I went to. All right, so luckily for me, because I lived in the Levittown School District, Levittown has its own school buses that we use, so we didn't have to contract. At least I don't know if they still bus the students there, but Levittown School District provide their own buses, luckily. And there's Robert Dillon right there. So it's funny, News 12 always had him on during the new normal, but now when it comes to school kids getting stranded, News 12 is nowhere to be found. You can't take News 12 seriously. Like, they're not a real news station, and they need to stop calling themselves a news station because they're not. Angela Marshall, spokesman for Nassau BOCES, said BOCES is working on consolidating routes to place more students on buses. This district needs 8 more drivers to cover all the routes. We are pleading with people with commercial driver's license to come forward, she said. So, again, this is all part of the greater bus driver shortage that's affecting everybody, and this is why runs are going missing in the city, too. First Student transports, that's something News 12 should cover, but they're not going to because, again, the people they gear to are in their enclaves. They probably get chauffeured to the, South Side School in Rockville Center, and, they don't care about this, So First Student transport, as we know, First Student, which used to run Greyhound, I don't think they do anymore. First Student also has First Transit, also does some transit operations too. And yeah, they're actually worse than Transdev. So they make Transdev look good. So First Student transports school children in the United States and Canada. Its U.S. headquarters is in Cincinnati. Company spokesman Jay Brock said First Student is working with the district to identify route efficiencies. So you're going to have more crowded buses making more stops because of this. Because, again, you're going to have runs missing. All right? So today being the first big day back to school, we understand the stress that this puts on students and parents. BOCES is a regional education agency that provides local school districts with specialized services such as occupational training, special education, and administrative support. Nassau BOCES, along with its vendor, transports about 1,000 of its 1,600 special education students. The rest of students are transported through their home districts. So luckily for Levittown, we had our own bus fleet. We didn't have to depend on these private companies. All right. Industry experts and drivers said there has been a persistent labor shortage that started before the spring of 2020. The pandemic, however, made the shortfall much worse. Last September, parents across the island reported long bus delays and in some instances no-shows. And News 12 covered that, but I guess because this affects such education, they don't really care. So the yellow bus did not come for Kyle Butner on the rainy Tuesday morning, but it did come for Kyle Butner on the rainy Tuesday morning, but it was more than an hour late. Butler, oh, okay, Levittown. I thought Levittown had their own buses. I guess not anymore. But I guess maybe they don't have enough buses now to cover the runs that they used to do to BOCES. But Butner, 18, lives in Levittown, is a senior at Iris Wolfson High School, a BOCES school in Greenville. His mother, Karen Butner, said she was about to get into the car to drive him when the bus came. During the hour-long wait, she said she called 5 times to find out whether the bus was coming. The lines were so busy this morning calling over there, so I knew they must be having a lot of problems. It's the not knowing that drives you nuts, you know. You want to know, do I have to take him or don't I have to take him? Clarification. Due to incomplete information, an earlier version of the story reported that 64 Nassau BOCES, so apparently they erroneous, so it's more than they originally thought. So yeah, this is horrible. People getting stranded. This is not right. Some of the students, especially a lot of them, are probably low income and have no other way to get to school. So this is really, really unfortunate. I always thought Levittown, I guess maybe they stopped. I don't know. Levittown should provide their own busing. Mineola also provides its own busing as well for its students as well. So I don't know if Mineola. All I know is I remember when I went to BOCES, Levittown provided their own school buses. When I went to CCA, Levittown, Mineola, Long Beach. I think those were the 3 main ones offhand that I remember. A lot of them were contracted out to companies. And it wasn't just First Transit. There was also Roy K. Davis, Huntington Coach, a bunch of other lines I don't think that are around. There used to be Independent Coach as well that did these routes. But, yeah, this is a major transit story. Yeah, school transit. It's still transit, so we got to talk about it. All I know is when I went, the Levittown buses were pretty reliable. We never usually had... God, I don't think we had any breakdowns the whole time I was going to CCA. I can't remember the bus breaking down ever. So yeah, it was they did good. Levittown did a good job maintaining their school buses. We usually had mini buses. Sometimes we had larger buses, but usually mini buses. But yeah, it always showed up. So so yeah, that is a pretty major story. And News 12 just again look at the nonsense they're covering. I mean. It's just so obvious who they gear to. I mean, it just really is. And, they're going to get sort of called out because of this. They missed a lot of crime stories, too. There were shootings on Long Island. There was, attacks. We're not going to talk about that. But, again, they're not a news station. They need to stop calling them. They're a lifestyle network for uppity white finance professionals. That's what they are, because they don't cover stuff that affects the average Long Islander. It's clearly obvious. So... Anyway, that's going to be the end of this video. Again, let's hope they get this situation straightened out. It's First Student that apparently they use a lot of. Things have probably changed a lot since then, since when I was going to school. I mean, hey, transportation on Long Island. The sad thing is, back then we had so many different bus routes. There was a bus route that went right in front of Rosemary Kennedy. I remember that bus route because when I went to Center for Community Adjustment, they taught me how to use public transportation, and I remember taking that bus for the very first time. Back when before it was even called Long Island Bus, it was considered MSBA back then. But anyway, that's going to wrap up this video. Let's hope they get the situation straightened out. Shame on News 12 once again. TV for snobs. They don't care about this major issue. But hey, they don't care about transit because, again, the people that they'll cover Penn Station, they'll cover that because that used to a certain demographic going to work on the city and they're finding professional jobs, but they're not going to cover this. All these kids getting stranded. So that's going to be it. Thanks for watching.